Well, good afternoon, everybody. It's good to be with you again. Another week down, another week closer to the easing of restrictions. We pray. Whatever the case, God is with us and will lead us through this situation. We've been talking a little bit this last week in our groups with the studies and so forth about Jacob, and particularly focusing on that last night before he crossed the Jabbok tributary into his homeland and goes to meet Esau. And on Sunday I preached about this, how this is a wonderful spiritual scene or picture in the Old Testament of how we can struggle with God in prayer and not let go until we get a breakthrough. Particularly I emphasised the breakthrough of this into the breaking of the self-life that needs to wither, and that could be a number of different things at a particular time, or one thing in a particular season that just needs to break and go into wither mode so that God can bring us to a new season in Him. So all we know from the very brief bit of narrative in Genesis is that Jacob, that early that day, had sent his servants and the animals, the flocks, the herds, the camels, the sheep, the cattle, all the rest of it, his wives and the children across the ford at the Jabbok stream. And as night was falling, he himself remained on the other side. And I kind of speculated a little bit in that sermon about Jacob kind of anticipating something, and that's why he stayed behind. Now that's probably true, but we had a bit of a think last night in our Connect group about what if it was God that had ambushed Jacob while he tarried there in that place he'd been 20 years before. What if it was God who began to wrestle with Jacob? And I thought about that. We thought about a bit about that last night, where often we'll pray these prayers, friends, about, Lord, do what you need to do in my life. Have your way with me. I surrender all, and all those frightening prayers that we pray, sometimes without realising the full impact of what we're praying. We need to be very careful about what we pray for. Anyway, I was thinking about this, and if we have given permission to God in prayer, to Lord, do in me what you need to do, that I might become more like Jesus, that I might become more able to do the things he did, and so on. Lord, have your way in me. Refine me, O Lord. Purify my heart. I don't think God's going to step back and say, well, let me know exactly how you want this to happen. I think God is the one who does the work. We know from Philippians chapter 1 that it's God who works in us to not just begin our salvation development, but to complete it. We know from Philippians chapter 2 verse 12 that God is in us, and he's the one who's working and willing this work to proceed as we surrender to him in fear and trembling. So we know that bit. But sometimes I think we're a bit surprised when God suddenly ambushes us. This often happens for people who are called to ministry. They've been longing for a long time to serve the Lord. And all of a sudden, it appears like the floor's just dropped out of their world, the roof blown off and the walls are blown flat, and here they are being shaken by God. And we're saying, Lord, what happened? And I kind of almost hear him say, well, I'm answering your prayer. And we think, well, goodness, what prayer was that? And it's the prayer that, Lord, do in me what you need to do. And so God kind of has intended to do that work, but we feel like it's an ambush. So God maybe ambushes Jacob before he crosses into his new season, into his new future, because he has to deal a blow to his self-life, his flesh life, and get a breakthrough for Jacob so he can participate properly in the new season. I think we need to take heed of that. When we pray, Lord, have your way in me. Lord, would you correct me? Would you refine me? Would you deal with me? Would you help me conquer this sin, or whatever the prayer is? Don't expect God to sit back in the wings and do nothing. Without warning, sometimes he will ambush you in a beautiful, holy way to complete or answer the prayer that you've prayed. This is important in this season, that we deal with the self-life. And for some of you out there, maybe God has set an ambush. He has ambushed you with his grace and mercy and sanctifying power. Surrender to it. Let him do what he needs to do, and then step into the new future that he has for you. Well, that's all I've got for this week. Look forward to seeing you very soon. May God bless you and keep you.